All right. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us here for the Glasgow City Council regular meeting. Let's please stand and pledge the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Remain standing, please, as Councilmember Norris leads us in our invocation.
May we pray? We humbly bow our heads and we open our lives to you, Lord, asking you to lead us and guide us tonight. We thank you so much for each day's blessings, for family and friend, for good work and good people. Everything comes from you, and the blessings are good each day. We praise you and thank you. Help us tonight to not only focus on what needs to be done, may we do it to honor you and glorify you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you. You may be seated. Begin with the roll call to see who's in attendance. Clerk Simmons.
Benell.
Present.
Gaunt.
Yes, ma'am.
Kirkpatrick.
Yes, ma'am.
Lowry. Here. Marion.
Here.
Neal.
Here.
Norris.
Here.
Trigg. Witcher.
Here. All right. Thank you all for being here to participate in our Glasgow City Council meeting. We have a full quorum, and we're going to move forward with the next item of business, which is to approve tonight's agenda. You got the proposed agenda in the mail on Thursday, and if you will look over that, we can entertain a motion to proceed as the agenda was presented.
So moved, Benell.
Okay, Councilman Benell has a motion to approve the agenda as it was presented. Is there a second?
Lowry.
Second by Councilman Lowry. Is there any discussion? Discussion on the agenda? All right. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. The agenda is approved for tonight's meeting. So we'll move right now into the agenda. Requires the approval of the minutes of the City Council meeting back on September the 23rd. I will entertain a motion that we approve those minutes. From Councilman Neal, what about a second?
Second, Benell.
Second from Councilman Benell. Okay, we have all the minutes approved. We have a first and a second. Any discussion on the minutes? All right, if not, I'll entertain a vote. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, like sign. The minutes are approved from the Monday, September the 23rd meeting. All right, let's move further down the agenda, and before we get too far into it, I need to call some people to the front of the council chambers. I need, I need Kelly Lucas, Clay, Levi, and Josie Lucas, and Wanda Pearson, all to kind of gather around up here. What did I call you?
I'm gonna walk to Wanda. I'm gonna let her stay.
Okay, all right, she can stay seated. And I didn't call you by your last name. Chief Lucas Tinsley. We've had a very busy day, and I want to be sure to get everybody's name right. Now, what we did was back on the very first day of October, we needed a fire chief, and we had one, and we had to make it official. So I swore in Chief Lucas Tinsley as the fire chief for the city of Glasgow. But tonight, we need to do the ceremony of swearing in. So we've got the youngsters and the wife, and I'm going to go over this oath of office once again. We can do this for the cameras, okay? So. All right, just like before. You were sort of a lone ranger back then, but we're going to do it this time. If you'll raise your right hand. I, Lucas Tinsley, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of this Commonwealth and the Constitution of the United States, and be faithful and true to the Commonwealth of Kentucky so long as I continue a citizen thereof, and that I will faithfully execute to the best of my ability the office of Fire Chief for the city of Glasgow according to law. I do further solemnly swear that since the adoption of the present Constitution, I, being a citizen of the United States, have not fought a duel with deadly weapons within this state nor out of it, nor have I sent or accepted a challenge to fight a duel with deadly weapons, nor have I acted as a second in carrying a challenge, nor have I aided or assisted any person thus offending, so help me God. Do you agree with that statement? I do. Okay, congratulations, Chief Lucas Tinsley. He's been pinless since he became the fire chief, so now we need to do some pinning, okay?
Yes, sir.
So, let's see, we have, which pins are going to be?
That right there
Right here?
is gonna be taking care of Levi and Josie.
Levi and Josie, okay. Think y'all can do this? Yeah, she's got confidence. That's a good shot.
So sweet.
All right. Put that on the back real quick. He's worked really hard for this position, so it needs to be a little difficult to put that on there, doesn't it? Very good. All right, so now we have Clay. Are you going to do the next one?
That's one I'm gonna let my grandmother take care of.
Okay, all right. So we'll come right over here and let you take care of that. Chief Lucas Tinsley. We didn't let Kelly do anything? She's your support. She's here for support. Well, that's all. We're glad to have you in the family too. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. Thank you. I think we had a press release about the new fire chief, but you know, he's worked for the Glasgow Fire Department for 12 years, and he goes way back even further than that with his education at Eastern Kentucky University, graduating in 2007 and 2005, and he was an Allen County Scottsville Patriot and graduated in 2000. So we're just glad to have you as a part of the city of Glasgow and your family as well. Now we want to move forward on our agenda. We have, I guess I need to move this microphone. Chief Howie would like to address the council for approval of a couple of additional full-time police officers, bringing his sworn staff to 37. Chief Howie?
Chief, hold on. We gotta move that mic.
Yeah, I'll get it. These are important things. Thank y'all for your patience.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Can you hear?
Yeah.
Okay. As it says in the agenda, I appreciate your willingness to hear this mid-year. Normally, I wouldn't ask for a budget amendment mid-year for something new. However, in the interest of public safety and the necessity for our citizens and visitors, I'm asking for 2 additional police officers to be added to the ranks of the police department. We're authorized right now for 35 police officers. I understand that making this year's request mid-year is unusual. However, it's necessary due to our increased call volume and the resulting decrease in our ability to be proactive in our enforcement efforts and our investigations. When the shifts are running short and calls begin to back up, the attention to detail and the attention to the investigations suffer. This is not a level of service that I expect for our citizens, and they deserve professional police service. By adding these additional officers, we'll be better equipped to handle the growing demand and maintain the high standard of service that's expected from us. Just to give you a little bit of a better picture, in 2019, the police department responded to 25,035 calls for service. In 2023, last year, we responded to 34,146 calls for service, a little more than 10,000 calls for service. In 2019, we had 37 police officers. This year we have 35. Additionally, out of those 35 police officers, I have one of those that's deployed overseas and will be gone for 1 year. I have one officer that's in basic training. He'll be there for 2 more months, and then he'll have an additional 12 weeks of training when he gets out. I currently have 2 in field training now. One will be out in probably 2 weeks, and the other will probably be out in about 8 weeks. I'm reassigning one officer to the drug task force because our fentanyl problem and our meth problem is getting out of control. And I have one officer that's on extended FMLA leave, and when he took that FMLA leave, he was in training, so he will have to restart his training when he gets out. So that leaves us with 31 officers assigned to answer calls for service. Now, what that does on our shifts, we work 12-hour shifts, trying to keep a balanced budget, or balance manpower-wise. That's 1 sergeant and 3 officers per shift. If I have an officer that wants to take vacation and another officer, or if I have one that wants to take vacation, that lowers our minimum manning, and I have to bring in somebody on overtime. And this happens frequently because the officers deserve to have their vacation. If I have one on vacation or sick and have another one that's off at mandatory retraining, that's 2 off the shift, and that's bringing 2 officers in on overtime. Our last overtime was over $12,000 on our last payroll. So adding these officers will not only benefit the manpower on the road, it'll benefit our overtime. Probably one of the biggest problems that we have when we lose manpower on a call for service is our mental health transports. If we have a mental health patient that needs to be transported to Western State, that's about an hour and 20 minutes each way that we lose that police officer just in transportation. Not to include the fact that if he's evaluated over there, he may be tied up even longer. So we're addressing part of that problem, hopefully, in the Brad district with a new mental health facility in Bowling Green with some of the opioid funds. So hopefully that'll help. But that doesn't help us right now. If I were to wait until July to ask for it in the budget, we're looking at another 8 months down the road, another 2 months to get them into the academy, another 20 weeks at the academy, and then another 13 weeks in field training to provide. I'm just asking the council if they would allow us to go up to 37. The cost for that, if it was a full year, for the cost of their salary, their benefits, and to a one-time cost to equipment, equip them would be $168,000. We've already discussed it with finance and the mayor, and it's very doable in this year's budget. So I'm asking you approve that 37, and I'm asking for you to direct the finance folks to do a budget amendment at the next council meeting.
The safety committee met at 4,
Yes, sir.
and we discussed the different parts of this and on a detailed basis, and after about a full meeting, came to a conclusion that we fully support this move, and I would like to make a motion to this effect, to allow the city treasurer to amend the 2024-2025 fiscal year budget to add the 2 police officers. I'll make that a motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second that we approve the recommendation of the Safety Committee. And with that motion and second, I will open it up. Is there discussion?
Chief Howie, what timeline would you be looking at, for getting recruits? Going to be a while before we could get recruits.
No, sir. We tested last week. We tested a group of 10. We tested another group of 10 this morning. Out of that group, I believe we have so far 6 qualified candidates that have taken the written test. Awaiting the results of that written test would be a background investigation. So we're looking at, depending on how long it takes the company to grade the test, probably another 4 to 5 weeks to be able to get them on board.
Thank you.
Is that about right, Terry?
Yes.
About 4 to 5 weeks.
All right, Chief, I got 5 questions that I've asked every time. All right, so how many slots do you have for the police department right now?
35.
You have 35, and you only have 31 actually being filled.
Correct.
As we talk.
Yes, I have 1 current opening.
All right, and then total cost 168.
That would be for a full calendar year. I'm asking for it now, so it would reduce it by 4 months.
All right, I want to piggyback on Terry's question about how you're going to fill the slot. So if somebody help me here, I believe your predecessor did the same thing. She came out of cycle, asked for 2 more slots, which would have probably moved you up to the 35.
No, sir, she asked for several more slots to bring us to 40. You all approved that. That administration was unable to hire those personnel.
And so I guess that's where I'm headed at with all of this. Yes, you need help.
Yes, sir.
Are you going to be able to get help in a reasonable amount of time? Or is it going to be like the previous ones where, again, we gave you the extra positions and they never were able to fill them? So you think you'll be able to fill?
Yes, sir.
All right.
When I was hired, we had 12 positions open. I filled those within probably the first 8 months.
Or are you going to go out and hire other folks who were previously serving for the internal? Because if we're looking at,
If they're qualified and they want to return to our service, they'll be more than welcome. If I can find laterals and get them on the street faster, the more the merrier. The quicker, the better. But as it stands right now, I have a pool of applicants that I can hire from. It appears there's a couple more hurdles to go over.
all right, can they serve like in a journeyman position, apprentice position prior to going to the school to help you
That's
fill
what,
your, so that's your intention is to kind of use those as partial backfills, and they'll be ride-alongs with somebody else that's already been trained prior to them going to training.
yes, sir. All of the recruits that have been hired, the backlog to get them into DOCJT was horrendous. So what we did like a pre-field training with them, and we got them out on the street. We got them to the point where they could work traffic accidents, school traffic, and those kinds of things to help relieve those officers to do police work. Thank you, sir.
Good discussion. Is there other discussion?
To the fellow council members, Chief Howe and I had a discussion on this about a week ago and talked about the finances related to this. And as he mentioned, the expenditure, roughly the $170,000, or you said $168,000. And, thus far our budget, is in line with where we need to be. This is a public safety item. And so I feel comfortable in our budget for 2024, 2025 that we can sustain this and would want to move forward from the finance group to go ahead and allow the police chief to undertake this task.
The question I got for you is, all right, did we not approve 40 slots once before? So why are we asking to go back up to 37 if we had approved up to 40, right? And didn't we budget for 40?
No, the process would be that the chief police would recommend his budget for the forthcoming year based on the number of officers that he predicted that'd be needed. And so now, as we're in this cycle, he's seeing the need now to add. So our budget is roughly based on the 35. We're not budgeting beyond what the police chief would be recommending and be working with. So there are dollars out there because the surplus position we're in right now for this part of the year, and then this police chief mentioned that he is paying overtime, and this will help to alleviate some of the overtime. So we've got dollars that are circulating right now from other costs within inside the department. So this will, I think, be a positive move for the police department and get them the number he needs. Again, now his budgeting is based on what he foresees, that he needs to have in the field. And what we did years ago does not impact the current budget.
Councilman Vanell, I think, Trigg, correct me if I'm wrong, I think what he's trying to say is we already accepted that, budgeted for it, and now he's asking if we didn't use it, do we lose it kind of thing.
No.
Is that what you're saying, Trigg?
I guess what I'm really getting to is I thought we approved them moving up to 40.
Okay.
And if we did, then if they're at 31 or 35, according to your budget, realistically, he has the option of going up to 40 without coming before us again.
Well, when the mayor presents his budget and the police chief puts his budget out there to the mayor, and then it comes to finance, and then comes to the council for us to approve, we have a certain number of officers that it's based on. But that budget number is not based upon 40 officers right now. So we every police chief, fire chief, every supervisor has a number of employees they think that they'll have for that particular year. The 40 means nothing to us right now. Okay, so he's basing his number, been working with 35, building his number, as he mentioned, 35, 36, now 37. That's the number we're working. New number is 37. So we've got to look to that, adding more money to the police department for payroll. That's what we're looking at. So we're looking to spend more in the police department payroll than what we have budgeted in that line item.
So, Chief, back to you.
Yes, sir.
So you budgeted for 35.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Were you aware that you had the option of 40?
I didn't learn that until tonight, that the previous administration had asked for 40. And to be upfront, I am going to be doing a manpower study to determine the exact number, and there is a formula out there to go by. However, that formula takes a little while to put together. Hiring a police officer is a very, very expensive way to go. Our public safety officers can do a lot of the same things that a police officer does, but it takes it away from the sworn officer to do the law enforcement duties. So I think what I'm trying to get to right now is getting 5 officers on a shift with a sergeant. That will help with the backload. Doing a manpower study with a data-driven estimate behind it will give us a better. It may show that I don't need that many. It may show that I need less, and it may show that I need more, and then I have to look at the type of calls of service that we're responding to and what we're doing. Like I said, those mental health transports are time-consuming and manpower-intensive, and in my opinion, it's not a law enforcement function, but the statute says we have to do it. So we have that to deal with. We have follow-ups that have to be done. So it's just a matter of doing an appropriate manpower study.
So I just got one recommendation.
Yes, sir.
And that is that once before, someone came to us with that study and everything else, and 40 was the number we had originally agreed on, was that the police, considering the number of folks that you have ineligible for work, due to deployments and FML and everything else, the 40 realistically would give you pretty close to the 35 that you think you need. You see where I'm going with it? So
it would.
Give you 2 more. I don't know if it's going to help you off in the short term and help you, but council members, I think the goal should be is we're trying to have a viable police department. If 40 was the number, then we need to try to get you 40. Finance committee, is that within the realm? You know what I'm saying? Because if he's got 5 off and we give him 2 more, he's still 2 or 3 people short.
Well, Councilman Terry, I think we need to listen to the police chief right now and let he's recommending to move forward with 2 additional officers. And he's going to undertake the study to see if that's the appropriate manpower that he needs within his department. And if it is, then good. If it's not, he needs more, then I'm sure he'll come back. If it's too many, I'm sure he'll make other arrangements. But I think his ask tonight to us as a council is just knowing that we're going to be hiring some additional officers. We're going to have some more monies coming out of the budget to take care of the payroll for that and other costs associated with it. And he's looking to move forward with it, and that's what we want to do is move forward. Safety committee is voted to move forward with it from the finance standpoint. I think we give it we haven't had a formal meeting on that, but there are monies available for it. I think we should move forward with it.
Chief Howie, does a law enforcement officer have to do the transport?
It depends. If it's a 72-hour, I'm sorry, if it's ordered by the court, law enforcement officers do have to do the transports. Unless we turn it over to a mental health agency such as Life Skills, then they have people that can do some transports. I know that from Life Skills in Bowling Green, the Warren County Sheriff's Office does the transports for them. We historically in Glasgow, if it's a city issue, the city police department takes care of it. If it's a county issue, the county sheriff's office handles it. We have a pretty good, and we'll help each other out too if one of us is short. But yes, right now that's the way it is. Short
Call for
answer.
the question.
Okay, we've had good discussion. Councilman Norris calls for the question. So we have the motion and the second. So I will ask that all of those in favor of approving the motion that was brought to us by the Safety Committee indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you,
Thank you, Council. And we'll get going on it.
All right, we have some old business to attend to here with the second reading of an ordinance. Rich Alexander.
This is the second reading of an ordinance rezoning property located at 716 Grandview Avenue containing 6.93 acres from the I-1 Light Industrial District to a B3 Highway Service Business District classification. It appearing that Demetrius Steer and Yin Tran, owners and applicants, have requested a zoning change for 716 Grandview Avenue containing 6.93 acres in the city of Glasgow from I-1 Light Industrial District to B3 Highway Service Business District. A schematic drawing of the property subject to rezoning is attached as Exhibit A. A trial-type due process hearing concerning this proposed zoning change was held on July 15th by the Joint City-County Planning and Zoning Commission, resulting in a unanimous recommendation that the property be rezoned from I-1 to B3 classification. Copies of the findings and recommendations of the Planning and Zoning Commission have been forwarded to the council and are hereby adopted by the council and are attached to this ordinance as Exhibit B. Now therefore be it hereby ordained as follows. 1, the findings and recommendations of the Joint City-County Planning and Zoning Commission, which are attached as Exhibit B, are hereby approved in all respects. Section 2, the zoning for property at 716 Grandview Avenue containing 6.93 acres shall be and hereby is changed from I-1 Light Industrial District to B3 Highway Service Business District classification. The property covered by this ordinance is described in Exhibit A. Section 3, all future development of this property shall comply with the requirements of the Development Plan Ordinance adopted by the Glasgow City Council on December 30, 1991, and this ordinance shall take effect upon its passage and publication according to law.
You've heard the second reading of this ordinance. I will entertain a motion that we approve the second reading.
Motion, Lowry.
Is there a second? Second from Councilman Neal. All right, is there any discussion? Yes, Joe.
That area back there has industry, right? Before it was zoned for industry, and it has the one factory back there off the backside. So now you want to change it to highway, but there's no highway frontage.
Yeah, sure. The naming of the zoning classification, it just entails for larger commercial development. The highway service business that we've named it, which has been around for 30 years, doesn't necessarily mean it has to be on a highway. It's more of a commercial development that would service highway development as well. You can get to it from your highways and arterial highways as well. But that classification is more for larger commercial development.
When do you handle any increased traffic, or will we have to do an expansion of that into Grandview?
Okay, so from to go back to the original first question there was no industry on this property per se. It was just zoned light industrial for potential industrial use. So they're transferring that to a commercial development. Commercial zoning classification allows for you to have residential or commercial development within it, okay? So it doesn't necessarily mean that it would only be a commercial development that could be there, but that zoning has the accommodations for both of those type of uses there. Now, going forward for your second question there, the traffic studies that we have shows that Grandview Avenue could handle that anticipated traffic volume going out to that street intersection with the bypass. That the bypass is wide enough to handle those stacking of cars if needed as well.
You know what I'm talking about? When you come down going to Rural King,
Sure.
once you pass Rural King,
It narrows up a little and then drops over the hillside and right before you get to the intersection with Sorensen. Yes, sir. Sorensen, obviously everybody's quite familiar with Sorensen, but it's actually quite wide roadway. I know a lot of individuals may utilize that off of Cleveland or 1297 to cut through there and then come down Grandview. So the anticipated traffic volume isn't as great as you might think that it's going to be for that area. It's proposed and ready for commercial development. Yes, sir.
All right. Good discussion. Is there any further discussion on this particular issue? We have a motion and we have a second, and I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Lowry,
Yes.
Marion,
Yes.
Neal,
Yes.
Norris,
Yes.
Trigg,
Yes.
Witcher, Benel,
Yes.
Gaunt,
Yes, ma'am.
Kirkpatrick.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, the motion carries. Thank you very much. In new business, we need to talk about some police department property that has been declared as surplus. Do you want to read something about that, Rich?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
This is the resolution declaring certain Glasgow Police Department property as surplus. That whereas the Glasgow Police Department possesses certain property which is more particularly described in the attached Exhibit A. Whereas the personal property is no longer needed by the department and the department has sufficient equipment available to meet the needs of the department. And whereas it would be suitable and consistent with the public interest for the personal property to be declared surplus and its disposition authorized according to law. Now therefore, in light of these recitals, be it hereby resolved by the city as follows. Section 1, pursuant to KRS 82.083, subparagraph 3, the following written determinations are made. 1, the property to be surplused is the personal property more particularly described on the attached Exhibit A. B, the intended use of this property at the time of its acquisition was for the use and benefit of the Glasgow Police Department and its operations. The reason why it is in the public interest to dispose of this personal property is due to its age and the fact that there are other similar pieces of equipment within the department capable of meeting all of the needs of the department, and continuing to maintain and keep the personal property described above would be redundant. Lastly, the method of disposition to be used shall either be by public auction or by any other means permitted by KRS 82.083. Section 2, the property described on Exhibit A is declared surplus. Section 3, the property shall be disposed of by public auction or by any other means authorized by law. Section 4, Mayor Royce shall be and hereby is authorized and directed to take any action necessary to carry out the actions contemplated herein.
You've heard the presentation of the resolution. I will entertain a motion to pass the resolution.
Motion Norris.
Okay, second?
Kirkpatrick.
Okay, second from Councilman Kirkpatrick. Is there a discussion on this ordinance regarding surplus property? There being none, I'll ask all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, like sign. The resolution carries. Also in your packet, there's a notification of pending list of appointments per resolution for municipal orders to be approved at our next city council meeting. So be sure and look in your packet. And the next time we meet, we will have each of these pending appointments up on the table for approval, if you so choose. All right, I want to remind you about a few things here coming up. I want to do this again, I see Terry Fisher sitting back there from the Concerned Citizens Group. The forum for the council candidates is going to be on the 21st day of October at First United Methodist Church in the Family Life Center. What time does that start, Terry? 6:30, okay. And the Methodist Church down here on South Green Street, okay? That's the 21st of October. Just want to be sure everybody's aware of that. Then we switch to the 24th from 5 until 8, the Shindig on the Square, Trunk or Treat on the Glasgow Square. Always a fun evening, 5 until 8. We have the Far Off Broadway Players on the 25th, 26th, and 27th. And this is going to be so much fun. It's the Little Shop of Horrors. It's going to be at the Plaza Theater. The box office has your tickets right now, in fact. Saturday the 26th, Glasgow Parks and Recreation presents a Halloween Fest out at Beaver Creek Park. The event's beginning at 2 p.m. with the movie Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Now, Eddie, did you say that's the newest Ghostbusters movie? All right, so it's not like you're going to not be coming watching a big rerun. You're going to get to see Ghostbusters Frozen Empire starting at 7:30 out there on the 26th. And if folks who want to know when the official city trick-or-treating time is, it's going to be on Thursday, October the 31st from 4:30 p.m. until 7 p.m. We have another city council meeting on the agenda coming up on October the 28th at 6 p.m. And it looks to me like, unless Mona tells me otherwise, Joe is saying something here.
I was wondering, have we been officially invited to the discussion about the 249 construction, the bridge, and what they plan on doing down there? Is the city, yourself and Jim, been invited?
Well, I know Thursday evening at 4:30 out there at the Barron County Middle School. They're talking about a road project to alleviate a lot of the problem out there. The State Highway Department is hosting this, and it's a fascinating project that the state is going to be building what they call a roundabout, or they want to. Let me say they want to build a roundabout at the intersection of Trojan Trail and Highway 249, the Roseville Road. And if you would like to weigh in on that, good or bad, you have a chance. Come out to this forum that's going to be at the Barron County Middle School, 4:30 till 4 to 6. Okay, all right. Anyway, it'll be good discussion out there, and I'm glad you asked that, Joe, because people that is in the city limits, people may want to weigh in on that. So. And it's a good way. It's Thursday, this coming Thursday.
Wouldn't we be responsible for the maintenance of whatever they decide to do down there?
No, it's a state road. That's a state. They build it, they maintain it.
All kinds of great information about that project and other transportation projects can be found in the mayor's podcast.
That's right. I did a podcast Friday with Joe Plunk, a fascinating guy to interview, and you can learn a lot about roadways that they want to build in the time frame of that. But the purpose of the podcast, and April Russell says 4 to 6. Okay, 4 to 6. We want to be sure, and we don't want you to get there late. But yeah, there's so much going on in this community.
Right.
From roadways to road projects, all kinds of things, and we have opportunities to learn about it. And you could be gone somewhere every night of the week and learning about things going on. And I just appreciate the opportunity. Appreciate everybody chiming in. Patrick?
Mayor, I've got one thing I didn't get to moan in time for the thing, but the Boys and Girls Club is sponsoring a Ghouls for Good. Tyrone Dunn and the kinfolk will be at Yancey's October 26th. There'll be a dinner at 6:30, and the show starts at 8. So if anybody, there'll be information coming out. But
Okay.
just if anybody's interested, we'd love to have you on.
Okay, all right.
Benefits of Boys and Girls Club.
All right.
Mayor, I think we are sure looking at something nice here, the carpet,
Oh, yes,
all the
we,
chairs, so good job, Mayor, April, who all,
Well,
Had a
that's
part
right.
in
It
it.
was not the
Good work.
mayor. It's back there somewhere
Good
on the
work.
back row.
it wasn't Fisher, was it?
No, it wasn't Terry Fisher, I don't think. It might have been Jim McGowan who weighed in on it a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, we do have actually the carpet and the chairs that we set in the last council meeting were put here in 1993. So we're modernized now for the next however long. Okay, we've covered the agenda. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
By Councilman Marion. Is there a second? Councilman, okay, Kirkpatrick. Motion and second. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you all for being here.